Well, hello once again. Today we are talking about form, specifically binary and ternary forms. Before we begin, I want you to hear just a little bit of this Haydn Minuet and Trio. So let's give this a listen. I'm going to pause it right there for a second. We'll listen to the repeat in a moment. Obviously, not a whole lot will change. But let's take a look at this. What key is this in? That's right, this is C major. You can analyze this pretty comfortably in C major up until around bar 8 or so. 7, 8. We start to see F sharp come into the mix. F sharp, of course, does not exist in C major, but it does exist as leading tone to the dominant, G major. So we are progressing on, moving from 1 to 5, and that's a very common move in this sort of thing. So once again, I want you to listen around bar 7 and 8 for the modulation. Pretty straightforward. It's a fairly easy modulation. It's a pivot chord modulation. The A chord here, that's a 6 chord. It becomes a 2 in the new key, and then we have an outline of a 5-7 chord on beats 2 and 3 in the new key of G at that point. And then from this point forward, we can listen to the whole thing in G major. Now let's pick it up. Let's catch the second half here. So we move from C to G. Let's see what happens in the second half up to where it's marked fine. Oops. We'll skip ahead here. So we have sometimes the technology is let this run again. You notice the F sharp has disappeared. So we're beginning the process of modulating back to C major, but it doesn't feel very C major until about right there. And then we have this material from the opening. All right, we'll pause it right there. What we have here is a piece in two parts, an A section and a B section. We refer to this as binary form. Now there are two harmonic types of binary we talk about. There's sectional, where the first half ends on tonic, so 1 to 1. And then there's continuous, where the first half ends on a half cadence, where it modulates or it tonicizes something other than tonic. This would be a continuous binary because we end in G major, and we end the A section in G major when we started in C major. Now all binary forms are going to end on their tonic. So there are some different types of binary. A simple binary is simply an A section and a B section, both repeated, or an A section and then a modified A section, both repeated. And they have a specific key structure. And a major key piece, and I'm using the A-B binary here to kind of show what's going on. It will modulate from 1, and if it's a continuous binary like this one, it'll go to 5 at the end of the A section. And at the beginning of the B section, it will go through various things until it gets back to 1, and it will end in 1. If it's a closed binary, a sectional binary, then the A section begins and ends with 1, usually with some sort of authentic cadence, and then the B section ends with an authentic cadence in the tonic as well. In a minor key, we have some other choices. It's very common in minor key to modulate from the tonic to the relative major, the 3, the mediant. And then in the B section, we work our way back to the tonic. If it's sectional binary, the whole A section is in tonic. B section ends in tonic as well. It is also possible to go to the major or the minor dominant in a minor key binary as well at the close of the A section, if it's continuous. Now sometimes, as with this one, A material comes back at the very end. And when that happens, depending on what type of binary you've got there, this is what's called a rounded binary. And depending on where you modulate, and I've put both the major and minor possibilities up there. The A section modulates from 1 to 5 when it starts. Then you have the B section, which will end in the tonic and relaunch the A section. But the A section is recomposed, either truncated or manipulated in some way, so that it stays in tonic. It does not modulate, so that the whole piece can be tonally closed. And you can see some examples of how that works there. In this case, the A prime that we talk about here is material from the first phrase of A, so it feels like it's closing in some way. Then there's the balanced binary, which operates on similar principles, except that the material at the end that comes back from the A section is from the end of A, rather than the beginning of it. This piece, what form is it? Well, let's listen to it from the top again. We'll just listen to the minuet. We'll deal with the trio here in a minute. We're in C major. Begin the modulation. And by this point, we're in G major pretty comfortably. Repeat. A little hitch there is because it's the first measure. It does weird things. It's finale for you. Back in C. And we've heard this material before. It's manipulated a little bit, but this is clearly the opening material. And then the whole B section with the return of A is repeated. Pick up the trio here in a minute. So what type of binary is this? We know it's a continuous binary because this is 1 here, C major here, and G major here. We do return to 1, and we have return from the beginning of the A section, starting about here, at the end. So A, B, A prime, and the material is from the beginning. This is a rounded binary. Now let's take a look at this trio, which is a simple little thing here. So let's set this up here to play. Now notice the trio is in a contrasting key. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so the trio section here. We're in the key of G. Note the key change. And we end in D, 1 to 5, so this is a continuous. Does the A material come back? Yes. Right here, look at bar 41. Mi, so, do, ti, la, so. Excuse me, it's been a long day and my voice is not what it was. We've seen that before. This is material from the second half of A. It ends a little differently, but the material is still there. So this is a balanced binary. Now, so this is binary. Let's take a look at ternary for a second. Ternary simply means 3 parts, and there are no set key relationships necessarily. If you look at the writing here, DC alfine, that doesn't mean go back to there. That means go all the way back to here. This is the beginning of the movement. And then you play through, without repeats, to the fine. So you have this minuet, trio, minuet. Statement, contrasting material, restatement. The whole piece is a compound ternary. First part, second part, repeat the first part. You can think of it as A, B, A, but I'm a little loath to use those terms because A and B have binary form meanings. And there are no set key relationships. This happens to be in the dominant, but it doesn't need to be. A lot of times trios are in the subdominant. And you find that often. Minuet and Trio from classical era movements. Also marches. Think of John Philip Sousa. The trio is often in the subdominant. Scott Joplin Rags, we'll be looking at some of those as we go along here as well. So this is a basic overview of binary and ternary. Please read the chapter, listen to the suggested listening, and bring any questions you might have to class. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.